the Warner Brothers studios, here she is now, Ellen DeGeneres.
Okay, thank you everyone so much for being here today. Okay, seriously guys, take your seats, calm down. Come on, let's take our seats. Okay. The reason I do this show is because I like to entertain. But I also like to inform you guys. You know, I'm always talking about studies and polls. And you know, if I'm hungry, maybe a pie chart or two. But today I had my breakfast, so I figured we'd talk about how different people are by live interviews. These are people you might not typically see in your everyday environment. But you know, as a woman of the 1800s, I understand that there is a general division between the North and the West right now. However, it's interesting to observe how these differences became how they are. Events such as the development of a seemingly market economy, as those youngsters like to call it, the westward movement, immigration, and even growing inequality. Today we'll see if it's possible for us all to come together and be part of one big American rainbow. And now we'll take a look at someone who lives in the North. Please welcome Miss Carlisle. Hello, Miss Carlisle.
Hi, how are you doing, Ellen?
I'm doing wonderful. Can you tell us a bit about yourself?
Well, I'm Elizabeth Carlisle, daughter of Mr. Carlisle of the Carlisle Steel Mill. I currently live in New York City, and I'm engaged.
Oh my goodness, congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Now, Miss Carlisle, I want to get down to the down and dirty. How is the boom in industry affecting New York City right now?
Well, it's drawn more people to the city, which means it's dreadfully crowded everywhere I go. I mean, nobody makes space for me anymore. It's so annoying. And now all the poor people ask me for money, as if, I mean, I would totally give them money. There's nothing wrong with that. It's just, it gets a little annoying when everyone's just fawning over me. And the city is so dirty now. Now I have to have special people to clean my walkway. Do you understand how much money that's wasting?
Oh my goodness. Now, you seem to be fairly a rich woman. Yes, in what ways do you see the division between the rich and poor now?
Well, the poor live in these awful shanties. I mean, I would fix them myself, but I'm not allowed to. And they beg me for money, as I said, on the street, and I have to help run these terrible soup kitchens because nobody can afford any bread or water or anything. And the rich, like me, I mean, we live in the lap of luxury, and while I enjoy luxury, don't you think it's a little unfair?
Well, perhaps. Now, your father owns the Carlisle Steel Mill, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Have you visited the factory, and what do you think of the conditions?
Yes, I have visited the factories, and the conditions are deplorable. I took a skirt right off of the machine, and it had a finger in it. It's awful there. The people are so miserable. The bell runs their lives. I mean, it's terrible there. And that's why I'm talking to my father to fix the conditions in the factories and make America great again.
Wow, well, you're a very empowered female.
I am.
If I do say so myself. So, what's your stance on the growing movement between the equality of men and women right now?
I believe in total equality of the sexes. I think women should be able to vote, and I think this country will be run a heck of a lot better if a woman were president. I personally attended the Women's Rights Conventions at Seneca Falls.
Oh, so you find yourself compelled to be involved in the political affairs.
Obviously, as a rich woman with privilege, I find it my civic duty to fight for those who don't have rights and rights of my own. I definitely feel compelled.
Now, correct me if I'm incorrect. You're engaged to Mr. Carnegie,
Mm-hmm.
a known supporter of the temperance movement. Do you agree with him?
Well, God has led me on a very spiritual path, and I believe that temperance is the only way to solve some of America's problems. Alcohol has driven families apart. It drove my mother away. But I believe if we support the temperance movement, America will be great again.
Well, I do have something to give you, and
Really?
yes, and you know, perhaps you would like this gift since it's a little different.
Okay.
Well, this is a special Ellen drink.
I'm sorry.
It's a special drink, so you may enjoy this with your husband.
Okay.
But here you go.
Alrighty then.
I think you'll like that one.
Okay.
Now, what are your traveling plans? And now that the railroads are finished?
I plan on traveling wherever the railroads will let me. North, south, east, and west. I want to see it all.
Oh my goodness. Well, now last question, because we do have to get moving here. How do you think the boom in business, like your father's, will impact the U.S. in the future?
Well, I think there will be a greater division between rich and poor if we don't solve it now. But I think America will be better if everyone industrializes. And yes, I mean you too, Southern United States of America. I think everyone should industrialize to make America great again.
Well, it was lovely having you here. Thank you so much for coming on our show.
It was lovely speaking to you, Ellen.
All right.
Bye.
Bye. All right, here he is. Hello there.
Hi. Howdy. My name is Jack Baller, and I am a proud father of one lovely young boy and one very beautiful teenage daughter. I live with my wife and father-in-law and ox in Oregon now, and we moved there from Independence, Missouri quite some time ago.
Gosh.
And the journey included a scare of dysentery and my daughter getting kidnapped.
Oh my goodness. Was your daughter ever found?
Oh, yeah, no, she's fine.
Okay. All right, well, now I'm going to get to your interview here.
Great,
for
thank
everyone
you, Ellen.
today. Yes, well, first off, how has the railroad changed your community?
Well, the railroad has linked my community to the rest of the world, which is great. And that's great for our farm and getting more people in there. But, you know, it's also, like, steered our community away from the community aspect in the sense that now we're like, oh, there's a lot of people here now. So we got to be more careful and we got to be, like, corralling everybody together.
Okay.
Instead of focusing on our own farms.
I understand. Now, I've heard there's something called barn raising.
Oh, barn raising. Oh, y'all gonna love this. So, barn raising is when our entire community gets together and we just put 4 walls up together for a barn and a roof. And then when it's all done, we celebrate with singing and dancing and we play games and we play with the children. And it's a great community thing that we still have.
So, what do you do for your leisure activities?
Leisure. That's funny. Me personally, I don't have that much time for leisure around, but you know, sometimes I'll get together with some of the guys in the community and we'll hang out at the general store and I'll talk to the general store guy and he'll try to sell me stuff and I won't buy it. But you know, we all come together occasionally, but I am so busy with our farm and my family that I just do not have time for leisure at all.
Well, you know, since you don't have time, perhaps your wife has some time. Now, I've heard that the ladies around like to do some sewing.
Oh, my wife does love that. Rachel does love that.
So here is some Ellen sewing materials for everyone.
Bless your heart.
Your wife will thoroughly enjoy
She
that.
will. She will.
Yes.
I can already thank her.
Okay.
And
You
she
know,
is ready.
I'll take that from you for right now, and we'll just set that down, and you can have it after.
Okay.
So, how have your community values changed, or do they remain the same despite that economic
Our community
development?
values have, I'd love to say that we're the same, but you know, because of the railroads and because there are more people coming in, it hasn't, like some of the elders, they've stayed the same. Not everybody has though. Some of us have to keep up with the economy and be able to keep up and fend for our families.
Well, you know, I've actually heard that farm populations have been declining. Why is that?
Oh, yes, yes. Farm populations have been dying because people need to be able to keep with the economy and they got to make money faster. They got to be able to keep up with their families faster and be able to provide for everybody faster. And it takes away from the lovely aspect of farming and taking your time to grow your crops and sell them to people. And it's taken away from that.
Okay. Now, going back to the barn raisings, I mean, how do your celebrations during harvest times compare to that?
Oh, harvest. You know what? They are very similar, Ellen.
Really?
They're very similar, but they're also, the barn raising is more of a community thing, and a harvest thing is more like, hey, I can provide for my family even more now.
Okay. So, how has the religious fervor, in a sense, changed your family?
My family, not so much. We don't necessarily affiliate ourselves with any religion. But I have known several other families that have gone to Utah and become Mormons, and you know what, we can respect them for that. But for my family personally, we just focus on the family aspect completely. We don't necessarily, we go to church, we are good church-going folk, but we don't necessarily buy into all the new religions that are coming about.
So has this negatively affected your life at all?
It has, in a sense, but at the same time, like I said, we just don't really go with that. We are more traditional people, so.
Okay. All right, well, thank you so much for coming on our show.
Thank you for having me, Ellen.
Don't
and thank
forget
you.
your sewing supplies.
Rachel already appreciates this, so
Okay.
thank you so much, Ellen.
All right. It was nice having you.
Bye, y'all.
Bye. Okay, everyone. Now, please welcome an immigrant from Ireland named Patrick O'Flanagan. He's here to talk about the working and living conditions today for him. Hello there.
Hello, everyone. I've been living in Boston for a few years now. I'm very happy to be here.
Oh, now, what made you move to America?
Well, if you hadn't heard, there was a blight in Ireland which led to destruction of all our potato crops, which led to mass starvation, malnutrition, and typhus. Plus, there'd already been a large Irish community in America, so it seemed like the natural choice.
Well, you know, today, I thought I would give back. So, this is an almond pass. You have a sack of potatoes waiting outside, all
Thank
for
you.
you. Yes, so you may enjoy those. Now, are you planning to stay in America, or do you want to move back to Ireland?
Now, I know many people see themselves as exiles who want to return eventually, but I think I want to stay in America.
Oh, that's wonderful. Now, what job have you found?
I work at a construction site for canals.
Oh, okay. And how was your journey over here?
It was terrible.
Oh.
It's long. For me, it was about 3 weeks, but I know for my friends, if there were bad weather conditions, it could take months. And I mean, it was ridden with disease. We had little to no food, and it was horribly overcrowded.
Now, why did you choose the city rather than like a rural environment?
Well, I didn't know this when I first came over, but to make it in a rural environment, you have to be pretty wealthy when you first come over. And I mean, me and my family, we came over with nothing. So living in the city was our only chance to find work.
Okay. Now, do you see yourself as a willful immigrant or a political exile?
I know many of us see themselves as exiles because they actually left Ireland to escape British tyranny, but I left solely for economic reasons. I left solely because of the potato famine. So for me, I see myself as a willful immigrant.
Okay. Now, you are Catholic, correct?
Yes.
So, now, do you feel you're treated differently from other Irish immigrants because you're Celtic?
Absolutely. I know older immigrants were treated as British or at least as white. I and my fellow Celtic Irish people are treated closer to black than being white. We're not considered part of the white majority at all. And we actually face very similar discrimination to those of black people.
Oh, now, are you a Catholic? And if so, do you think your religion's being threatened?
Yes, I know Protestantism is accepted in most Irish immigrants, but Catholicism is not. It is considered an economic threat, I think, to others. So I think that's part of the driving reason for anti-Catholicism. And I know in Massachusetts especially, we've been victim to a lot of anti-Catholic marches and violent anti-Catholic protests.
Oh, okay, well, I'm so sorry to hear about all of this. But I hope you enjoy your potatoes. It was wonderful having you here today.
Thank you. It was a pleasure being here.
Yes, all right. Well, I will see you.
Okay, bye.
Goodbye. And now we're going to talk to an escaped slave who went all the way to the north. Hi, nice to have you here today. Can you introduce yourself to everyone?
Yes. My name is Harriet Gordon. My owner used to call me Elizabeth, but I changed it when I escaped to the north, and now I work as an abolitionist.
Oh, how long have you been fighting against slavery?
We have been working towards our cause since the end of the revolution.
Oh, so what leaders do you think have really helped you out the most?
I look up most to Richard Allen. He's a bishop, and he was really one of the first people to outspokenly speak against slavery.
Okay. Now, how many of your relatives or friends and family do you have still that are enslaved?
Actually, my entire family is still enslaved. My daughter, husband, and son, we tried to escape the plantation together, but the plantation owner caught us in the middle of the night, and I was the only one who was able to hide. So my daughter was shot, and my son and my husband went back to their master and worked for him again.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I mean, do you still face racism even though you're legally free?
All of the time, we're always at risk of being taken back to the South and being mistaken as a fugitive. So people think that I should go back to where I belong.
So then do you struggle with, getting or keeping a job?
Yeah, it really, my only job is to work in the